How's it going, everybody? Seth here, and I've got Ty with me, and this is going to be a recap video from our slot car race, the very first one that we had on January 8th, 2022. Ty, do you remember where we were racing at?
Slaughterbound Speedway?
Slaughterbound Speedway, that is correct. A phenomenal track. It's like 101 feet, right? And it's red on the outside. It's got a little bit of gray surface to it. It's 4-lane track. It's a residential track. It's in somebody's basement, right?
Yeah.
But they are part of this group called SERG, or SERG. Do you know what that stands for?
No.
So it stands for Slot Car Endurance Racing Group. So what that means is that we were doing 10 minutes on a lane at a time, right? So you did 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a total of 40 minutes of racing per person. So do you want to tell everybody what you got to do during the race?
During the race, I got to do something called Ironman. Basically, most of the people there were part of a team, 2 people. But since I was new there, I had to do Ironman.
Well, you didn't have to, but it's a great way for you to get extra trigger time, right? We
Yeah.
call trigger time on the track. Either it's practicing or it's racing. So by doing an Ironman, running as your own teammate, it gives you twice the amount of time on the track. So what did you think about that?
It was definitely fun, but it did burn out my fingers.
Yeah, I mean, you were racing 40 minutes at a time, back to back to back to back. Because typically with the team format, what we do is say Ty and I were teamed up. I would race one heat, and then he would come in and race a heat while I was a corner marshal. But since you didn't have a teammate, you got to just do back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
So you raced 8 heats in a row, 80 minutes straight of racing. Now we do 2-minute or 3-minute intervals in between, but that's still a lot, dude. And you did a fantastic job of staying focused and being there at the end. I mean, it was difficult for some of us adults. We haven't raced in 2 years, and it was still difficult for some of us to be able to just focus and still have the mentalness, the focus to be able to be there at the end. But you did a great job, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely great job.
At the end, like, my arm was about to give out, and then I saw the timer, I was like, I have to keep going, I have to keep going.
Yeah? Wait till you get on a short track where it's like 2 seconds a lap, and it's just like constant, just trigger, trigger.
You told me about a track like that we
Yep.
might be able to visit.
We're going to be able to race on one of those this year, I do believe. So, do we want to talk about qualifying?
Sure.
How did qualifying work during this race?
So, I believe, like, most distance in the matter of 1 minute.
Yep, so everybody got to choose whatever lane they wanted to start on. There were 4 lanes, so it went blue, white, orange, or green. And most of us picked white or orange, right?
Yeah, but some people picked green. I only think like 1 or 2 people picked blue.
Yeah, it was, most people were on the inside lanes because they're easiest. You don't have the tight turns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like you said, it was 1 minute,
Mhm.
and whoever went the farthest got pole position, right? So it wasn't the fastest car. We did it this time. We're trying out 2 different ways this year. We did it based on distance. All right. So who was top qualifier? It was me.
Oh, yeah.
It was me, everybody. I got top qualifier.
Yeah.
So just to back up a little bit, you were first, right?
Mhm.
You ran first.
I
So
did.
you didn't get to watch anybody else qualify. Now, did you?
They were doing me a favor doing that because, like, I wasn't nervous to beat anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So you set the goal and you didn't have anybody else that you were trying to catch up to or anything like that,
Yeah.
right? So one thing that was really, really awesome about your qualifying is how many times did you come out of the groove?
None.
So you stayed in the groove?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect, man. You did a phenomenal job. Guys, we had people, racers, that have been in this sport for literally decades that said that Tyson did a absolutely phenomenal job qualifying his very first race. Didn't come out at all. And what did you score? 13 laps and 58 feet. So the way the 58 feet work is every foot on the track, there's a mark. And this track is 101 feet long. So he was a little bit over 13 and a half laps is what he was able to get in that 1 minute. So I think that's great. And another thing about that is you were on low power. So this track has a way to be able to go high power, low power. And you were on low because it was your first race, and high power is still just a little bit too much for him with these cars. These cars are definitely intended for experienced racers. Not that newcomers can't do it, because obviously you did. But on low power is definitely what you needed.
Yeah, like I wasn't used to that chassis either. I'm used to like a different chassis.
Yep, you are. You're used to a little bit heavier chassis, so it keeps you in there a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, back to top qualifier.
Mhm.
That was me, everybody. I do not know how I did it. I didn't come out of the groove either. I stayed in the groove for 15 laps and 99 feet. Yes, I was 2 feet away from having 16 laps. Now, the really awesome thing about the way that we qualified here, we had two other really fast drivers. Now, these guys have been doing it for a really long time. Not that they're old, but they've been doing it for a really long time. So, second place came in at 15 laps, 94 feet. And third place came in at 15 laps, 91 feet. So there was only 8 feet separating first through third on qualifying after 1 minute of racing, of time on the clock. So that is insane that I somehow squeaked it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nuts. Now, if we take a look at fastest lap, because a lot of places also qualify by fastest lap, that's typically what you do, right? Tyson, you came in with a 4.366. That's not bad. Okay, that's really not bad for the first time qualifying and trying to focus on getting the most amount of laps, period. Now, if you were trying to go for fastest lap, I'm sure you would have got just a little bit more out of that, but that's still very, very respectable for low power, all right? Because there was a gentleman that was on high power that he was only in the 4.2s was his fastest lap because he was trying to do the same thing, go farther, right? I came in with a 3.683. Now that was good enough for P2 on qualifying. Second fastest. So not only was I fast or the most distance, I somehow managed to be second fastest overall. Y'all, I haven't qualified in 2 years almost, and I completely shocked myself. But I'm very, very excited. If I can get some more trigger time, this is going to be an absolutely great year, and I'm so looking forward to it. And you may be wondering what the fastest time was. It was a 3.467.
Wow.
I mean, that's 0.2 of a second faster than me. That's fast, y'all. That is really, really fast. He did an amazing job, and hopefully, you guys are going to get to hear more about him as we go forward. I started talking to some people, and the track owners are on board with us sharing a little bit more information about their tracks. So I think that's some of the videos you guys can expect here in the future. So, do we want to talk about the race? Like, so with qualifying, how do we get the teams?
So basically, the fastest qualifier gets teamed up with the slowest.
Yep.
And second gets teamed up with the second slowest, and so on.
Yep. So that's exactly right. So since you were Iron Man, you got taken out of that equation.
Mhm.
So that means we had 7 racers left. So I got teamed up with the guy that actually had a mechanical problem during racing. He had a motor seize up on him, so he had to get his back out car back up, and we let him continue because we didn't want him to only have like 5 laps. So he's a good racer though. He's got his own track, phenomenal guy, and I got teamed up with him. So I was really excited. I've not teamed up with him yet on this group that I race with, so I was really, really excited about it. And you were Iron Man, and that means that we had one other gentleman that got to be Iron Man, and he's one of the club presidents. He really is, and he decided he wanted to try it out. So we got into the race, got going, and we tore up some stuff, didn't we?
Let's just say you had to repair your car quite a bit.
Yeah. So I actually this is the body, and it is pretty tore up. We've got a lot of paint that's missing now. Right in this area right here, I had to actually put tape on the body to be able to fix it. The back here, we're almost ripping the spoiler off back here, and then Ty, you somehow managed to separate your front fender. Um,
A lot of people tailed me.
yeah,
Just saying.
yeah, tail dude. Tell me what that means.
So basically, the back of their car hits your car in a different lane.
So you're coming around the turn like this, right? And they get in front of you, and as they come around the corner, your back end typically spins out, right?
Yeah.
So what they were doing was this.
Mhm.
They was hitting you that way. So are you saying they were doing it this way and breaking your fender?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, but you did a phenomenal job, and these guys weren't doing it on purpose either. Okay, it's one of those things that if you're not familiar with racing around other people, like Tyson and I aren't right now, you can have these little incidents. But the car survived. There's nothing that's non-repairable. It's just body. Nothing about the chassis are broken at all. We did have a little bit of an incident where my body came loose, and now we have some grooves in the tire. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that very well. Got some grooves in the tire. So, really, really interesting there. But we're going to get them fixed up. We're going to get them cleaned up. We're going to be ready to go for the next race. So, what was the biggest lesson you learned from this race?
Slow is fast. Well, slow is fast, not slowest fast.
So, what do you mean slow is fast?
So basically, if you try to keep in your own lane and you go slower, you'll have more control than people who are going fast and have less control because they'll come out more, and you will eventually have more laps.
Yeah, so the more you come out means the less time that you're actually in the groove and able to produce laps, right?
Mhm.
So we looked at it, and roughly for every one time you come out, you're going to lose about a lap and a half to 2 laps, right? Between 4 and 6 seconds.
Mhm.
And that's if you just have a normal off. If you got a big off, it could be 3, 4 laps even, right? Well, we had a couple cars land on the floor, right?
Wait, remember that one car
What
that
did you?
like launched like a missile, like?
Yeah, yeah. So what happened there is, so it was during qualifying, all right? And you got the body that's held in with body pins. Something happened to one of those, and the body actually came up. And then what that caused that to do was air got underneath of it, and it just lifted the entire car up, and it slammed into the wall. Like, not the wall of the track, the wall of the basement. Um, but car was fine. Cars are built really, really tough. Um, and yeah, the wall was fine too.
Yeah, solid concrete.
but but yeah, it was a great event. I learned the same thing. No, like I said, I've done 4 races before, but I learned again that slow is fast because I proved it in qualifying that if I could just focus on staying in the groove, then I'm going to produce laps. And I got into the race and I was trying some things out and I was trying to overdrive a little bit to kind of keep up with these guys. For the most part, I could do it, but I don't know. It's fun to do this,
Mhm.
to challenge myself, and I just have to remember that I need to drive within my means. I'm going to get faster. Everyone's going to get faster the more you do this, and I just got to be able to get more laps.
Yeah, don't try to catch up to them.
Yeah.
Because like,
And there's times if I'm on an easy lane, I feel like I'm good, right? But then, I'll pass somebody and then I'm going and I'm like, all right, yeah, I get confident, and then I overdo my confidence. You know what I mean?
yeah, you get cocky.
A little bit, a little bit. But to close out here, do we want to talk about how we finished?
Sure, like what place we got?
Yeah, what place we got?
Mhm.
All right, so Tyson, you had a total of 951.32 laps.
Almost. Thousand.
You were close.
Yeah.
Yeah, 951. So in one car, you had 480 laps, and in the other car, you had 471. Now, we didn't say car, but the first time you ran on a lane, was 480 laps. The second time you ran on it was 471. Really interesting. I mean, you were within 9 laps on both times that you ran on that lane. So that's really, really good. I came in with 529.71 laps. Not bad. Not bad.
Wait, does that mean I did more than you?
No. Well, total for the day, yes. But your average, no.
Yeah, because I was racing Iron Man.
Yeah. So the really interesting thing is we raced for 40 minutes. Okay? And I only had 50 laps more than you. Which means for every minute, I was getting what? A little bit over a lap in.
Mhm.
Which means that you and I were coming out almost the exact same amount. Not really good on my part.
Yeah, but
Not really good on my part.
But I didn't tear up my car as much.
I know you did a phenomenal job, dude. But first place on laps had 616.86. So I'm about what, 90 laps off the pace right now in 40 minutes of running. So in every 2 minutes, or for every minute, I'm about 2 laps behind. It doesn't sound like much, but I can guarantee you
That's a lot.
I was probably crashing at least once a minute. Right? So if I could just stay in the groove, I feel like I can be up there competing with those guys a lot more.
Mhm.
I mean, it was a great event. I learned a ton. I hope you had a blast.
I did.
I had a ton of fun. Um, we've got a new chassis that just got made for us too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna show those off in our next video. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna dive in a little bit more into the chassis, show those off. We're gonna look at tires,
Mhm.
all the different the car things is what we're gonna do in our next video. We've got a few weeks until our next race, so we're gonna start showing you guys a little bit more about our setup here, what we've got, and yeah. So I'm excited.
Mhm.
Are you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's gonna be it for today, everybody. Have a great day, night, evening, wherever you're racing.
And don't forget, keep it in the groove. Bye.
Every time you do that, aren't you?
Yes.